Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Daniela. I'm a veterinarian, and today I am going to cover 5 ways to properly care for your new puppy. The 5 parts that I'm going to cover are when to start vaccines, when to start deworming, the vaccine and deworming schedule so you know how many times to expect to take your puppy to the vet, and I'll also cover nutrition and training. Number 1, start vaccines early on. You want to start as soon as the puppy stops drinking milk from its mom, which is ideally around 8 weeks of age. So the rationale behind waiting until the puppy is done nursing is because vaccines interfere with maternal antibodies and we do not want them to compete. The best way to go about this is to have your puppy vaccinated once it's no longer drinking milk from its mother. Number 2, start deworming early on. So ideally around 8 weeks of age, but this could vary depending on when you got your puppy. So why deworm? Well, worms are transmitted through mother's placenta and through the milk. So it's highly likely that your puppy may have been born with worms or acquired them shortly after starting to nurse. It's a good idea to consider having your vet run a fecal analysis, which is a diagnostic tool to screen for parasites in your puppy's poop. Fecals can let you know if your puppy has common parasites such as roundworms, tapeworms, or hookworms, but they can also let you know if there are other types of parasites in there such as Giardia or Coccidia, which are not eliminated by your common dewormer and need a separate treatment of its own. Number 3, you want to understand your puppy's vaccination and deworming schedule. There is beauty in understanding the schedule because it allows you to take your puppy on time to its appointments, and your puppy will build immunity and will get poked less times with a needle, which I am sure your puppy will appreciate. Oftentimes I noticed that people did not have a good understanding of when they needed to come back. They do end up coming back, but many weeks after the first vaccine was given, and we have to technically start over because the antibodies from that vaccine just dwindled and faded, and that puppy was ultimately poked for nothing. So in regards to vaccines, your puppy will start a series of vaccines, multiple spaced apart by a few weeks. Let me give you an example. So your vet may recommend 3 to 5 vaccines spaced apart by 2 to 4 weeks. When it comes to deworming, your puppy will also need a series of deworming. An example would be 2 dewormings spaced apart by 2 weeks. Keep in mind that this could vary depending on how old your puppy was when you acquired it, if they dewormed it with a breeder, or if they did certain dewormings at the local shelter where you got your puppy. So have a whole conversation with your vet about that. Number 4, nutrition. So make sure that you're feeding a diet that's appropriate for your puppy's life stage. You can do this by feeding a diet that simply says puppy. According to veterinarians who did a residency or specialty in nutrition, if your puppy is less than 6 months of age, feed 3 meals a day, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If your puppy is 6 months or older, then they recommend feeding 2 meals a day, breakfast, and dinner. What I usually throw in when speaking with my clients is whatever your puppy doesn't finish within 30 minutes, take it away. This will contribute to the routine which puppies love and thrive on. You want to offer a diet that's formulated for your pet's breed and size. If you have a large breed puppy, feed a large breed puppy diet. If you have a small breed puppy, feed a small breed puppy diet. Going back to large breed puppies, the difference between a large breed puppy diet and a regular puppy diet is that the large breed puppy diet has less calcium. I know many people think larger puppy, more calcium, right? But research has shown quite the opposite. By feeding a diet that has just the right amount of calcium so that the bones grow strong at an appropriate rate, we can prevent bone and joint issues. Now, when a puppy is getting too much calcium, instead of the bones growing this way, they'll grow this way, and you're going to have a taller, lankier puppy with more fragile bones that can be prone to bone and joint issues. I highly recommend avoiding any supplements that have calcium if you have a large breed puppy that's in its growing phase. So if you have a small breed puppy, The benefits of feeding that small breed puppy kibble is that it has the nutritional content and size of kibble that is tailored to your small breed puppy's needs. If you are wondering how much to feed your puppy, refer to the feeding guidelines on the back of the food, and you'll usually find these guidelines on the back of the bag, and they're going to tell you how much to feed per day. Now let's say they give you a range and they say feed anywhere between 3/4 cup to 1 cup, then feed on the lower end of the recommended range. And if you threw away the bag, fret not. As long as you remember the brand and what the bag looked like, you can find the feeding guidelines online. Number 5, training. When to start? So sooner versus later is recommended because it provides socialization, which is a pivotal part of your puppy's development. Ask your veterinarian how many distemper parvo vaccines your puppy needs so it can start its training sessions. Start at-home training a few days after your puppy acclimates to its new home. Some of you may be thinking, my puppy already knows how to sit, lay down, give paw. Does he really even need training? There's a difference between training versus tricks. And as a veterinarian who includes behavior in part of the overall physical examination, I see a grand difference between the puppies who have gone to training versus those who have not. And that difference is confidence. Granted, there are many puppies that can easily acclimate to different situations with different people, but on the other hand, there are puppies that are very timid and they do struggle in social settings and need that help. They need that socialization, which is going to help them navigate social situations and will help them with their development into adulthood. Did you know that training can even help your puppy have a more fun and relaxed experience at the vet? So I notice this all the time. There are some puppies that unfortunately struggle with different things. Some are head shy, so they don't like their heads touched. And when you do come close to them, they will sometimes nip. There are others that are overly protective or have high anxiety and can become aggressive. And then you also have the jumpers. And these are your puppies that are constantly jumping on their owners, jumping on strangers, visitors, our veterinary staff. And when they're little, it's very cute. But once they're 70 to 100 pounds, oftentimes nobody thinks that's cute. And it's, without any knowledge on how to go about this, how to discontinue or discourage that behavior, then that puppy will just keep on jumping and unfortunately can sometimes hurt people, break things. And so having the skills to discontinue that behavior and have a better bond with your pet, I think is amazing. Going back to confidence, training builds confidence for your puppy and for you. So I'll share a story about myself and my personal experience with training. So growing up, training was not something that my family did. It just wasn't part of our culture. After moving out, after being accepted into vet school, I had my first dog, not a family dog, but my own, and I decided to give training a try. So my puppy and I went to puppy preschool, and there the trainer let me know, she said, no offense, but I'm going to train you so that you can train your dog. And she was right. Even though I had been around animals my whole life and had taught my dogs several things, a lot of the things I learned during this puppy preschool, I was not born knowing. No one is born knowing. And I think that information was amazing, and it helped me so much, and it still helps me to this day. Fast forward 6 months later, I did private training with this same dog, and I did not regret it one bit. It still benefits me to have this information, and when I go on walks, on hikes, I implement what I've learned, and it gives me more confidence to navigate awkward situations with other dogs or pet owners. My final tidbit has nothing to do with training, but with dental care. So at 5 months of age, your puppy's deciduous teeth are going to fall out, By 6 months of age, your puppy should have its full set of teeth. So around this age is a good time to start desensitizing your puppy, getting it used to the sensation of having something touch its gums and his teeth so that you can eventually brush his or her teeth. So that is the goal, and that's a whole conversation for a whole other day. I'll definitely be giving you tips on dental care in the near future, since dental disease is something that we commonly see and you can prevent starting with puppyhood or starting in puppyhood. And overall, there is so much to cover when it comes to properly caring for your new puppy. I hope these 5 tips were helpful. And my aspiration is to help facilitate the process of you bringing a new puppy into your home. And if you want more tips on how to properly care for your growing puppy, subscribe and stay tuned for future videos. Bye, everyone.